the major sectors that has really been affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. What we have seen is that the Omicron variant threatens the recovery of the market. We do not see a lot of foreign investor or foreign travelers going to the Philippines, mainly because of travel restrictions and still the Omicron variant that is still around. We are likely to see vacancy improving. In fact, we saw that in 2021, and I have figures later to support that. And there will be an increase in new hotel supply, new hotel completion, but it will be a tempered, a gradual increase in new hotel room delivery. Now, for the first half of 2021, foreign arrivals were substantially down, only 58,000 travelers compared to 1.4 million in the first half of 2020. So you can see here, most of our top travel markets, USA, Japan, China, of course, down substantially compared to a year ago. Now, there was a holiday induced demand. So you have, of course, Filipinos traveling from the United States, from abroad, OFWs that wanted to spend their holidays here in the Philippines, and that contributed to a slow increase in demand hotel occupancies. Of course, some Filipinos also repatriated, and this also helped raise the occupancies of hotels being used as quarantine facilities. Domestic tourist-led occupancy. We believe that for the leisure market, it's still the local tourist market that will help drive this tourism market, this leisure market here in the Philippines. But as you can see here, the occupancy for the second half of 2021 reached 44%. Again, this is an improvement compared to previous periods where occupancy would range from 20 to 24%. You still have the 2, 3-star, 4-star hotels being used as quarantine facilities that achieved occupancy of between 40 to 54%. So that is a healthy occupancy still compared to what we saw a year ago. Again, still far from what we saw pre-pandemic of between 60 to 70%. But what has been notable for the leisure market is that average daily rates for hotels also declined for the second half of 2021. So you have hotels in Makati, Fort Bonifacio, the Bay Area. The drop has range from about 5 to 20%. So this just indicates a slowdown in the leisure market. So let's see how the tourism leisure market recovers, especially at the start of 2022. Will more people, more locals be willing to do staycations, or will the easing of quarantine conditions affect the occupancies of these hotels? Now, as I mentioned, there will be new hotel rooms that will be completed across Metro Manila, but there will be a tempered increase. For 2022, we are likely to see the completion of 1,600 new rooms. Of course, that will increase again in 2023. That's a little over 2,500 before slowing down to less than 2,500 by 2024. Of course, we believe that the completion of new hotel rooms will again hint on the recovery prospects of this leisure market, and the return of more foreign travelers. So over the next 2-3 years, we will see new hotel brands, both local and the foreign. So you have the likes of Pullman, a new Mandarin Oriental hotel that will be completed all over Metro Manila. But you also have the local brands, including Seda, which will have a new hotel in the Bay Area. So this is the Kingsford Hotel, which was completed second half of this year, of 2021 rather. And it is already entertaining guests. In fact, it is already open to a number of MICE events. And in fact, I had my first face-to-face briefing in Kingsford Hotel back in December of 2021. Hotel Okura, of course, opened also second half of 2021. It has 191 rooms. So these are the opportunities for the leisure market, the easing of domestic travel restrictions. More staycation hotels are now allowed to operate. Of course, the Safety Seal certified hotels will be allowed. More guests and more establishments also will be allowed to open. And the vaccination of tourism workers, which is being mandated by the government. I think based on latest data from the tourism department, close to 90% or a little over 90% of tourism workers have already been vaccinated. And another opportunity is the partial resumption of MICE activities in Metro Manila. As I mentioned, some hotels already allowing a hybrid of face-to-face as well as virtual conferences. So that should slowly kickstart the recovery of this MICE segment. So rebound and reboot, especially for domestic tourism, which, as I mentioned, will likely help in the recovery of the tourism market. Pre-pandemic, we saw more 80, 90 million domestic tourists going around the country. But in 2021, again, we still don't have the final data figures from the Department of Tourism, but the projection is that domestic tourists reached 36.5 million during the year. So we are also seeing very good signs for the property market, perhaps slow recovery, but what we have been noticing is a V-shaped recovery, especially in terms of the Filipinos' propensity to spend at hotels and restaurants, as well as travel, especially using air transportation. So as you can see here, there was a recovery in terms of restaurant and hotel spending. So these two indicators are now back to positive territory. So that should bode well for the leisure market, especially as we gradually prepare for the market's rebound. Now, what do we watch out for 2020? To force the easing of travel restrictions, both domestic and even for foreign tourists, rebound in foreign arrivals. So a lot of countries that are under the green list, I believe, are now being allowed to enter the Philippines without quarantining, staying in a hotel facility, but we also need to watch out for new COVID variants, which might temper the growth of the property market. So the usual hotel recovery enablers, the vaccination of tourism workers, the events, MICE going hybrid, of course, the revival, the rebound of the domestic travel. The COVID-19 cases are declining mainly because of a ramped up vaccination and the more staycation and the leisure stays in Metro Manila and even outside of Metro Manila, the top tourist destinations including Boracay, Cebu, Iloilo, and Palawan. So some recommendations that we have for hotel operators as well as other leisure sector stakeholders. So strict compliance with the protocol, especially with some issues on hotel guests breaking protocols. So this, of course, should constantly be highlighted. Assess supply pipeline, the completion of new rooms over the next 2-3 years, especially as the market prepares for pent-up recovery. Prioritization of tourism workers' COVID vaccination. As I mentioned, this is a very good indicator with more than 90% of hotel workers already inoculated. Repurposing of facilities. Some hotels now being offered as co-working facilities or private offices. So this is an alternative use of hotels, especially now that we're seeing occupancies ranging from 40 to 50%. This is a good time to activate marketing strategies, and digitize. Especially now that we're seeing a lull in terms of hotel operations and hotel demand. But again, consider implementing MICE events, and a lot of hotel operators are already implementing this, and we're likely to see more hotels also implementing this moving forward. So that concludes my presentation for the leisure sector. Again,